I think we'd all like to know a little bit more about what it means to be a clay therapist.
So as you start to play with the clay and you chat, things that are hidden inside then come through to the surface. There's some awful trauma that people have survived and gone through. And then we get into that stage 4, the lens 4, looking through into the clay. We have a look then for metaphors at the end. What you make, we won't analyse, I promise.
Please don't.
Please don't.
It could be really problematic for me. Because I've not told anybody about them until now, because I think it's too weird. This is going to make me sound crazy. Please don't listen to me.
Wow, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to Pott'd Clay Conversations. This is the show where we gather fun and interesting people from all different backgrounds, from professional potters and expert creators to complete beginners. And we love to bring these people together to share stories, have a laugh, and potentially create some masterpieces from our clay. Or potentially not. We'll have to wait to find out. So our first guest today, Sarah Ackroyd.
Thank you.
Sarah's
Hello.
come all the way from Leeds, and she is a qualified clay therapist and clay conversationalist. She works with families, mothers, and anyone looking to share thoughts or feelings, all with the help of clay.
Great to be here. It's quite exciting, Granny Sarah coming down to London. It's a big deal. My forest cubs would just be amazed. So no, I just love it. And as you said, meeting everybody here today.
And our second guest is Sophie O'Gorman, AKA Soph the Oof.
Yes, I think.
I wish it rhymes.
However you want to say it, I just say Soph the Oaf or Soph the Earth. I don't really know, but yeah, that's me.
If you didn't know, Earth is French for egg.
Yes.
Hence, we have some of Soph's creations in front of her here.
Yeah.
So if you describe yourself as a part-time egg maker, but not a chicken.
Correct. Although, believe it or not, when I was younger, I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I did say a duck, so I kind of got close. Yeah, I just make eggs. I just started during lockdown. I'd say the eggs kind of took on a life of their own. I didn't choose this, they kind of chose me.
And we also have with us Andrew White.
Hello.
Hello, Andrew. And Andrew is a comedian and a writer. He has got over 8 million views on his videos on all his platforms, including Instagram and TikTok. And he is currently touring with his new show, which is called Young, Gay, and a Third Thing.
Yes, hello.
Which is a name that I've got a lot of time for.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's a direct quote from my first ever agent who, as we were going into lockdown, said to me, oh, you know, you really have to sort out your social media. People need to know who you are. And she said, you need to instantly show, and these were his exact words, my agent representing me, all my hopes and dreams, my, in with all of the industry, she said, people need to know you are young, gay, and a third thing. Yeah, the show is all about working out what that third thing is, and
You've performed all over, right?
yeah, you get to go over all these little places that you don't think would have a comedy scene or a comedy festival, and they just sort of pop up out of nowhere.
Do you know what? I write little jokes sometimes, but I'm like slightly obsessed with Sudokus, and I have a Sudoku book, and they're always Sudoku themed.
You've got Sudoku themed jokes?
Yeah, and then when I'm on trains and buses and I get like the metro and I just think of a Sudoku thing, and like if I had a stand-up, it would only be Sudoku jokes.
You really like go niche, don't you?
Yeah, like every time. And then in my Sudoku book, there's just loads of like random little Sudoku-based jokes.
Do you have a Sudoku joke you can share with us?
No. And I refuse to, because I've not told anybody about them until now, because I think it's too weird.
I think we'd all like to know a little bit more about what it means to be a clay therapist.
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit. Could I have a piece of clay, please?
Right now?
Yeah.
Your wishes are command.
Look at that, you see. It's amazing in people. I'll just have the bag, my love. Thank you. I did some work with the therapeutic forest, and through them I heard about clay therapy and met with Dr. Lynn Suter Anderson, who's written 3 books. So she developed a way of describing it in 5 lenses. So the first part, the first lens, is literally touching the clay. So clay is formed from volcanic rock, and as it wears down, it then becomes clay. So it's full of energy. As soon as you start touching it, you're massaging your whole body, you've got all the sensory parts on your fingertips and using your palms. So immediately, you've made that first contact, and then we enter this play space of potential. She calls it lens 2, where anything is possible about what you're going to make next. When you come to clay therapy, you and I say, you would have some clay as well, and I may well work alongside you. You feel calm, I'm with you, and I would sit not as close as this, perhaps about as close as we are. And then what's wonderful is that you can start looking at your clay and chatting. You don't need to look at me, you don't need to have that eye contact. And I'm here as what's called the emotional midwife, so I'm keeping you safe, taking you on your journey. So as you start to play with the clay and you chat, things that are hidden inside, hidden emotions, feelings, then come through to the surface. And then we get into that stage 4, the lens 4, looking through into the clay. We have a look then for metaphors at the end. So I brought this piece with me. This is a piece that is a metaphor now for the client that came to see me. We went on a journey together. They took on a very quiet space. I realised as we came out of it that they had gone right back to being a child at the beach. Is it a conch shell? I don't know, with the swirls.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see that replicated. And then at the beach is almost with the rock pools at the side. And thinking about a place of safety, and it was a safe space for her as a child and full of memories. I remember this one, it was so emotionally charged because I'd said, right, about 10 minutes left, we ought to come back and, let's have a look what you've made. And she became really upset. And I'd realised she was totally at the beach and didn't want to come home. I don't think I wanted to ever either. So there was that real emotional connection. So that's why clay therapy is so different from what we will do today. So what you make, we won't analyse, I promise.
Please don't.
Please don't.
It'd be really problematic for me.
Why do you just make it?
I don't know.
That is really
About
beautiful.
what people say and
I felt a bit in a trance then, to be honest.
Did you?
Yeah.
But and that's really lovely. It is, and we're talking about this. I find it really humbling, and I do get quite emotional when I talk about it. I mean, people come. Any problem is a problem. It's important to you. So it might be your boss is doing your head in at work, but that's still important. Or it might be some awful trauma that people have survived and gone through, and will sit with me and will open up. I find that really humbling. So that's what's special about clay. Gets through the layers. What is internal and hidden is now able to be in a visual image that we can then look for metaphors.
Yeah, that is really interesting and actually in some ways like not so surprising to hear. Because if you've had any little go with a craft with your hands, it does something to your mind, doesn't it? And everything kind of changes. So let's get started. Right, we've got a couple of kits. So we're going to be sharing one between two. Thank you, Joe. Today's theme is, as inspired by Soph, food. So we're all going to use our clay to create an item of food that is significant or meaningful to us in some way. So have a little think what you might be. If you haven't decided already, you've got time to.
This clay is really nice.
It is really soft,
it's very
isn't it?
soft.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was, when I opened my pack, I was really excited because I felt it and I thought, this feels like the clay I would use.
It blends,
It's lovely, isn't it?
it blends really nicely as well.
I feel like I have no clay authority.
What do you think?
I mean, it feels.
It feels, but how does it?
Yeah, it feels, okay, this is going to sound very pretentious, but it feels very potentialful, Like, I think because you say it's very soft, you sort of think, I can, but it's soft but firm enough that I feel like there's all sorts of stuff that can happen with this.
Go on then, tell us what you're going to be making.
Well, I was going to make it for my partner who really likes ramen and instant noodles. So I was thinking, like an instant noodle packet, just that as like a coaster or something.
That's
with
really
little
cool.
strands. Thank you.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I wonder whether it's too ambitious, but I'll give it a go.
Sarah, what have you got in mind?
I think I like to try and make a cake, but maybe hollow it out inside. I want to decorate. I feel really, when you get your hands on a new product, very childlike, that you just want to play, and I want to use all the tools and make lots of bits. And,
Cake though, you said?
I'm going to go for a cake.
Okay.
I feel like this tool would be really good for the cake because it would be like the...
Oh, the icing.
Like,
Piping.
Like the little piping bits, and then this is a really cool thing. I discovered this yesterday when I was playing for just taking out.
Scooping.
Yeah, there's a good word.
You just want to scoop, don't you?
Yeah, I just want to scoop.
So I had to think, like, what is something that I would be annoyed if I didn't have, food-wise? And I'm really a bit embarrassed to admit what I'm going to be making is a packet of whey protein.
Oh, wow.
Right, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because I looked at my cupboard.
We're all like,
You've really booked a whey protein crowd today. Yeah. How do I, these tiny strands that are sort of making the ramen, they're very...
Oh, I was
they keep
imagining the
breaking
packet
up.
closed.
Oh no, I was thinking like the, I have a reference photo actually. I have a reference
Oh,
photo
I
of ramen.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be very
It's
cool.
going to be in the
Honestly,
packet.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that will be sick. That is impressive though, to do that.
Is it hard? Is it
Well,
difficult?
no, I don't know, but I'm excited to see how it turns out.
But what's the best way to, because I keep trying to make these tiny little strands, they keep breaking. Is there a way to prevent that?
You have a little bit of water, but then I wonder that if you make a few of them and add water, and then they'll start to stick and you'll start to make your pile, whereas on their own, on their own, they're just brittle and, you know, falling apart, but together they become stronger.
It's a beautiful metaphor.
You're
I like
welcome.
that. Yeah.
Maybe start bigger and...
Start bigger and work my way up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you making every noodle?
Yeah, that's
Smart.
nuts. You could start with a square, like a rectangle, and then add the noodles on top.
Smart. Then it'll have a sort of
Like it's
visual.
slightly easy.
That sounds really good.
So if we've not asked what you're doing because it's obvious, but
I
feel
mean,
free.
I am doing an egg, but my whole thing with like
No.
my eggs is I like to say that my eggs are my canvas. I'm making an egg, but I'm making a little duck pond on the egg. But yeah, it's just going to be some ducks chilling at the pond on an egg. Oh, like this?
It's really cool. I was going to ask actually, does having the limitation of the egg sort of, because I always find when I have to do like topical stuff, like writing for, you know, something like Mock the Week,
Yeah.
that sort of limitation of, oh, you have to talk about this news story, does sort of help with creativity because you've got the parameters to work within. Do you have that with eggs?
Yeah, do you know what? I think so, because the thing is now if I ever try and be creative, if I'm trying not to do something egg related, I'm like, well, what do I do? Because I have started to, I see, this is going to make me sound crazy, please don't listen to me. I have started to see yolks in everything. Because if I see a circle, I'm
that's
like,
really
well, that could
lovely.
be the yolk.
Yeah.
And then I could make something around
No, I
it.
think that's lovely. That's your that's your thing, isn't it?
So yeah, everything, it's kind of, what can the yolk be in terms of the greater scheme, I guess, and then the white is the canvas. But I think it gives you a nice little guideline to think of different things because you kind of have that one point to focus on.
Well, I'm doing the base at the moment. I've still just got this one sort of demonstration noodle.
Lonely noodle.
The demonstration noodle.
Yeah.
This is really lovely clay. It's really soft. I'm really enjoying it. It's very tactile. What kind of, so you're doing like the packet that the protein
I'm doing the
comes
packet,
in?
not the powder. Yeah. But we'll make a little scoop to go on the side because it always comes with a little
nice.
scoop that's lost in the bottom of the bag. You can't relate to any of this, can you, in any way?
No, sadly not.
There's so many of us in the crafting space and the art space that everyone started in 2020
Yeah.
or 21, right?
Yeah.
Because
The freedom.
it was the freedom. One of the good things of COVID was how much space it created to try different stuff. I found myself on my phone a lot, not talking to my girlfriend, but just being on separate sofas. And I was just like, this can't be life.
Yeah.
So we started to just try different activities. We tried like painting, paint by numbers. And like a lot of the stuff like was fun maybe once, and then I was kind of over it. But the most fun thing that we tried was air dry clay. And so that's actually how the whole thing started. Because I tried it once and I found myself, you know, like we talked about, like kind of in a flow. We're doing it together at the same time, but also you're kind of doing it with someone, but also on your own. So it's a really nice, like, you know, sort of balance.
I think that was one of the most like amazing times about the lockdown was like seeing people kind of access different parts of themselves that they hadn't necessarily before. Because I feel like I found on that first day, and I feel bad for saying it sometimes because I know some people really struggled with it, but I found this like insane sense of relief.
I cheer for you.
Because it was just, there was no pressure, there was nothing. And then I slowly like picked up, like you say, lots of different hobbies. I was cooking, I was making bread. And then slowly, as I went through the hobbies, got into clay and then fell in love with making stuff out of clay. And I think it just kind of gave people a sense of you didn't have to be productive.
Yeah.
It kind of takes you back to like a human instinct, do you know what I mean? To exist rather than to, to work, I guess.
When you're writing for other people, like how does that work? Because that seems a whole new ball game, right? Writing stuff for yourself is one thing.
Often you only work with people you know quite well. Like on Mock the Week, you'd get hired by the panelists, so you'd be writing for a specific person, yeah. So you sort of knew their voice a little bit. Yeah, it
I
was,
had no idea.
I know, because I always feel really mean because I feel like I've ruined some sort of illusion and magic.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought
that they
wrote
would
their own.
just, so they're not naturally funny, it's you.
No, they are very funny themselves, but it's just such a, you get the brief on a Sunday and you record on a Tuesday afternoon, so it's A, such a quick turnover, and B, they, for something like Mock the Week, which sadly doesn't exist anymore, but that would be like a 4-hour, 5-hour record, so you need, pages and pages of material.
Wow.
You just can't do it on your own, really. But writing for other people, I enjoy it. I enjoy getting into their headspace, what they would, what their voice is, and often it's for a specific thing. So you have those like creative parameters that we were talking about earlier.
Do you do anything to think like a different person?
No. Well, yeah, sort of like inhabit
Do
their
like put on
day.
their clothes?
That's what she does. She's the dog.
Have you ever wrote a joke and it's not been used and you've been really sad?
Oh yeah. Well, what I did during lockdown, because that's when I was writing for Mock, I started making my own little because I'd write 4 pages of topical jokes, and like 5 of them would get on the telly, which is cool. But then there's 4+ pages of stuff that's not used.
Yeah.
So I would just make my own little YouTube videos and just put them out there. And that's how I started on TikTok, actually. But I've seen a couple of jokes I've written for people. They'd make a meme out of it, or they'd put it on their Instagram as a clip.
No.
And it's like,
I'd be so bitter. I'd be writing comments like, I wrote this. I don't think I could do that.
No?
No.
But that's funny you should say that,
tricky.
because you told me, I believe, that you give away, well, you don't give away, but you don't keep any of your eggs.
Yeah, I've never actually made one for myself or ever kept one. I quite like sharing them with people as well. And I feel like, I've definitely grown quite attached to my eggs, I think. And there was one actually that I drew, that I made with a pigeon on it. Had like a little pigeon sat in a nest, and nobody bought it, and I was really, really sad. And
Come on, guys.
I loved the pigeon so much, and then I took it to a market, and nobody bought it, and I put it on I know the market was 2 days, then I put on my Instagram saying, right, I've decided if no one buys this today, I'm keeping it. And then somebody bought it online. I was like, no.
Scarcity drives demand.
Well, it was
created
just-
a sense of urgency.
I think it was more like I just felt really sorry for it, and then all of a sudden it was gone. I was devastated.
You should have maybe said that you would destroy it if it wasn't bought.
I couldn't do that to the pigeon.
No, you wouldn't really have to.
I couldn't even give it that false sense of fear. But the person who bought it was like, I know you've just said that you're really sad that someone's bought it, but I'm so happy, and I promise it's going to a good home. And I quite like that. I like knowing that they're going somewhere where they're going to be loved.
So where your clay work is very, it's based in talking and therapy,
Yeah.
does the finished product matter that much, or is it more about the process?
That's a good question. No, because it becomes a metaphor for that person. Though sometimes some people, when they've made something, are quite happy just to leave it and maybe not really discuss it very much at all. And then for other people, they are quite emotional pieces.
Does it matter if they don't speak about it then?
No, it's nice if they do, but while they're working, I would be watching their breathing,
Oh, interesting.
watching their movements. A client I worked with last year just had a ball of clay the whole way through, but was using it for massage. So there was a soothing process there as well, which we said the hand is a map of your body. So
Do you make alongside them?
sometimes, yes, there's a lot of
Otherwise, do they
studies.
feel like they're being watched?
Yeah, you can a little bit of that, but it really helps you make a connection. So Lynn did a lot of studies on that, and there's some photographs how similar they can be because you make that connection. So I wouldn't look at my hands; I'm just literally talking with and listening, so you following that person's movements. It reminded me of working with a client, and what I made fitted in with what they'd made, but they saw that I hadn't seen it. I was like, I'm not sure what's going on, and they went, "There's a bear." And they were really excited because it was a metaphor for things for their childhood and what they were doing in their space. And you can have those lovely moments of connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just sort of subconsciously mirror them a little bit because you're not
Yeah,
focusing on
energies
what
are
they're doing.
matching.
That's it. And then that's really profound. And as I said, I feel really humbled when you're in that space and you've made that connection with somebody who's there willing to trust you and open up. It just reminded me, you don't have to just use your hands with clay therapy. It's really interesting to take your shoes and socks off and pop your feet in.
No, oh my God.
And how does that feel for you then? Would that be that?
I'd have to wash my feet.
Yeah, that's okay. Do you often wash your feet?
It's just practicality though, like how would I get home? Like it would dry.
You can dry
and
your feet.
It'd be really
I
heavy
would-
with clay and then it'd be like stuck.
Gosh.
Oh my God, I'm giving away so much now.
It's okay. I would have some nice warm water there for you and a towel. But have you ever thought about that? What that would feel like?
If I go,
No.
I'd keep my shoes and socks very much on at all times.
It's interesting to work. See, this clay, it's drying out, but you get your elbows in there and push down different parts of your body.
That's my biggest problem is like, so I don't like to, I get worried that I'm going to ruin it. So I always like, I hold back a bit, and I feel like what I'm learning is that it's better to just push the limits, and then if it goes wrong, you can just like rub out and start again.
And that's what's wonderful about clay, isn't it? That you can really just take it back to the beginning. And like I said, add the water.
Yeah.
And smooth that surface again.
So this is my 40 grams there. But
This is really imperative.
it's,
What is 40 grams the total weight of the bag, or is that protein per
Per
bag?
serving.
Yeah.
per serving, 40 grams of protein.
So it's just a one serving bag.
God, it's not life size. No.
You know what's so interesting when I heard you were coming on this about clay therapy is I find when I'm doing it, I do go into my own little world. So I've never considered that it could be used as therapy before, but actually it makes so much sense that it would be.
Yeah.
So it's just using those different parts of your brain and making different connections. So there's that play space that you're in and the world around outside you, and you forget all that. You're just within that internal space and just making those other connections. I think it's opened my eyes to all sorts of other things and avenues and things to explore,
Amazing.
Different way of listening, which my husband will say we're always talking. He'll say things and I'll be like, it's not really active listening, is it, dear? That's trying to fix. And he knows he's great.
Oh, that's a good saying.
He's
I'm going to use
fabulous.
that.
But he is so fabulous. But the thing is, I think as well, you look at a therapist, you think, oh, well, you should have it all together, Sarah. You shouldn't ever be upset about things. There shouldn't be things that worry you, but totally not, totally opposite. So whenever he's upset, the first thing I do is go and try and fix it or dismiss it, Because when somebody we love is in pain or upset, we want to eliminate it.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily want things fixing, do you? Sometimes you just want to be heard.
Just want to be heard. I just want a hug. I just want him to say, right, well, sit down and have some tea because you've not had anything to eat and I can see that you're upset. And that's what we need. And then you feel acknowledged, whereas people come in and they think, I'm doing a good thing, but you feel dismissed.
100.
I've had a really bad day at work. Oh, well, it'll be better tomorrow. Well,
It feels so irrational to be mad about that, but actually it's probably the last thing that you want to hear sometimes.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Somebody comes with solutions, it's almost dismissive of the way they're feeling it, because it's even though it might not be something they thought of or something they can do themselves, it's almost sort of subconsciously saying, well, there's no need to be upset because you can just do this. People really like to have space for their emotions. When I do like crowd work with audience members, always try and ask questions like, oh, who's the most annoying person at your work, or what's the most frustrating thing, or the happiest thing, and you always get better answers than what do you do, what does that involve, because people come out with emotional stuff.
That's really cool. I get the impression, Andrew, like you'd be quite kind though.
I do definitely have when I'm emceeing, when you're hosting the show, that's normally the person who does the most crowd work, because it's weird because you've got to be in control of the room, but I'm definitely not an alpha.
Do you like doing crowd work?
I do, yeah.
I guess it's like very much ad-libbing, isn't it? You're kind of riffing off whatever you get.
Yeah.
You've got to be quite confident to do that, I imagine.
Yeah, and in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Because there are some times when I'm just reciting the words because I know it so well. And you really need to be like creatively in the room and reacting to who's there to do crowd work.
That is a high risk occupation, trying to entertain drunk people. And also it's like people have a different sense of humour.
Yeah.
So like you go into a room presumably and you don't know who's going to turn up, right? It could be a completely mixed bunch of people.
Most comedy environments, people, even if it's not necessarily their sense of humour, but they want to enjoy it because they've paid and invested in having a good time. And I think reminding yourself that people do want to enjoy it is very important.
What do you do when they heckle you?
Well, I normally try and take it as like a genuine inquiry.
Thank you for inquiring.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing as well. Most hecklers don't even think they're not trying to put you off. They're not trying to be malicious.
Right.
So like, if sometimes you can go in
What
really
are
hard.
they trying to do then?
Yeah. You go really hard, and they like, oh, what did I do wrong? And the audience also don't know that they've done anything wrong.
How can they not know that?
Yeah.
Well, because they'll be like, oh, I got a bit about reggae, oh, I like reggae, and then somebody will just yell out, oh, Bob Marley.
Oh, right.
And, it's just like, so useless.
They're thinking out loud.
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly what it is thinking out loud.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've kind of got to, something like that, you normally go like, yes, Bob Marley, yeah, I'm really into Bob Marley, and then just get back into your thing.
Right.
But you can tell immediately who's a malicious heckler, and then you sort of have free rein to do what you want to them.
And people often say that, oh, you're a therapist. Well, oh, right. I mean, I guess you know you were a bit worried, joking aside, that
Petrified.
sometimes we think, oh, she's going to look at the stuff and say, But you've also actually, in this conversation, you have been really revealing about yourself.
Oh, my God.
But we all have, the things that have come out, vulnerabilities, you just talk about being authentic and your work and what you talk about. So, but we do, because this is a safe space. And I think, how's your lettering?
Yeah.
Can we see?
Well, yeah. The one I did with the stamp come out good.
Yeah. I love the stamp.
Yeah, I still haven't got the hang of that, but I'm just gonna. You think it's savable, so I'm just gonna leave it.
I think if you use your paintbrush to just keep smoothing it.
Really, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's
around the
little
lines.
thing is that powder?
That's the protein powder itself.
I like the little scoop.
And
Yeah,
the scoop,
that's
yeah.
really cute, isn't it? It's really dainty.
Oh, I've just seen the ducks starting to come together.
Yeah.
That's really, wow, that is amazing.
I can't. I
So,
don't want to turn it in it. He's soaking his feet in the water. There was going to be 2, but I feel like I might just limit myself at 1 for today.
Yeah, fair.
Super cute.
So with this is going to be have a lid, is it?
Yeah, I like to make, that is something I do like to do with clay, make something practical. I think that's why I like to knit. I like you with your eggs, Sophie. I rarely knit something for myself.
Yeah.
I like to put the love in and I like to know who it's going for.
Yeah, I
rather
crochet
than just,
and I don't make things for myself.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
And people have said, oh, you could sell online, but I wouldn't know who's going to buy it and I wouldn't know.
I also think it brings on a new pressure as well, that it has to be perfect and sellable. And it takes the love out of it sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Has the water worked?
it really has, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm honestly shocked and amazed at myself.
That's the lovely thing about clay in this product. You can
Look
fix
how
things,
smooth that is.
smooth it up. Yeah, yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's like professional now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming along.
Thank you. Yeah, once I got into a rhythm of strand making, it became a bit easier.
Found your method of it.
Yeah, you can see the progression from here to here. Yeah.
That does look like your picture.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, because it was just a block, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, block of instant noodles.
Yeah.
Andrew, I was watching some of your reels the other day, but the one that I was laughing so much was the Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, right, yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? I thought that was really good.
Yeah, so I share this theory very sincerely that Beauty and the Beast is a pro-trans film. Not because the beast transforms, that's reductive. My theory is that the witch who's cursed the beast is a pro-trans ally. And all the objects in the house, all the servants, they're just people that made really shit I identify as jokes. And that's how they ended up as they are. It's just like, oh, well, if a man can be a woman, I identify as a teapot. Boom. Now you're a teapot. Yeah.
I love that. That's
you.
incredible.
My first thought was actually about an entirely different joke about Lumiere. The film is set in France, but it's been put through an English filter. So everyone's got an English accent, American accent, they're all very anglicised, which begs the question, how French was Lumiere before the process? Because he's so French in the final film. So that was the initial joke.
I'm really impressed with that noodle coaster. I mean, it's gonna be a huge coaster.
Yeah.
You could use it as like one of those things for like a saucepan as well.
Oh, right, yeah, a little, yeah.
How's it going, Sophie? What
Yeah,
are those
I'm
little
really
bits on
enjoying
the
it.
side?
So it's going to be like some little, because it's a duck by a pond or a lake, so it's some bushes.
Okay.
So it's a bit more natural.
Yeah, duck by a
Obviously.
lake in an egg in a pond with bushes.
Yeah,
Duh.
it's completely natural. This is how my brain works. There was going to be 2 ducks, but yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the 1 for today.
It's really cute.
Yeah. I don't know whether to give him a little hat though. So he doesn't get sunburned.
Oh, a little straw hat, yeah, that'd be
That's
really cute.
what I was thinking.
When you're making it like this, how far ahead are you thinking to painting and the colours and stuff like that?
I feel like that's probably where I'm thinking in the first place. I probably work backwards, if anything. But I'm not the best. This would be deceiving, to be honest, because I'm not the most organised person, which is why everything's always half done, because I come up with the idea and then I start drawing and I'm like, right, okay, I need to do it. Yeah. And then it never gets done. So then it's always, I normally do my drawings after it's finished. But yeah, I'm imagining the colours, I'm imagining the scene, kind of the atmosphere. Imagining that I'm here with the dogs.
That's really, I like
that is really, but that's so much about, I suppose, what I do. And you said about colour then, that often when I finish work with the client, we're discussing it, I will say, what colours, can you see colours on there? And it's really interesting what people can see and what they're projecting.
It would be so interesting to see how they did colour in there, like especially the one that you brought with you. Because I'm imagining it with like pinks and blues. So it'd be interesting to see if it was darker, lighter.
And then in your imagination, perhaps you've got something that you can't then create physically, and then that becomes frustrating. And one client said that they could see shafts of light going through, like a prison box, prison box. Yeah, that sort of rainbows and broken up, bouncing around inside it.
Wow.
But it was just a piece of grey. You'd look and think, well, that's a piece of grey clay.
Yeah.
But in
Vivid
there,
imagination.
they could see that. Yeah.
Tell us about, what have you made? Are these sugar cubes?
I'm making my listening cubes. I've made a little chicken.
Oh, that's really, I just spoiled that.
I was watching you and I was thinking
really
maybe I
good.
need something to go in here. So these actually, you talked about repeating themes. I tend to make what I call a listening bird. And I wouldn't decorate it, I usually leave it really smooth, but it's something that comes really quickly. If I pick up a piece of clay, I've made a bird. So like, a repeating theme. Wow. Yeah, it's a repeating thing, the things that I make. And then these are my listening cubes, because I'm kind of done with my pot, but I was more interested in what you were all doing and what you're talking about. And then I suppose, but then that's just nice, comforting. I like that. Some people like to roll balls, and I like to make. You've made a ball. Yeah.
What is this saying about us?
Yeah, are you a ball in a cube?
Come on, tell me then.
Oh gosh, no. I wouldn't do that. No, it's not in Lynn's book. She doesn't analyse that. Tell you what is really interesting. There's a mandala book, and it does contain lots of symbols that are just found worldwide, and that is really fascinating to look and see what birds typically mean, or colours. But you take it like a pinch of salt. Like if you were reading your stars, really, you would be like, you might read into it.
Yeah, I feel like
but
it's saying
mandalas are quite interesting. That's an interest. You think we're opposites? That's an interesting thing.
You're saying you're a square.
A bit edgy, but no.
You are quite edgy, Sarah.
Yeah. It's my age, love. It's okay. When you get to my age, you just don't care. It's great. It's great.
So if you're a square, or you're edgy, what am I then?
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
Thank you. Keep them coming.
I noticed you took a lot of care in forming that 3D shape that you've got there. Is it like a pyramid kind of? I don't know, there'd be a mathematical term.
Just thinking parallelogram, but no, trapeze.
Trapezium, is it?
Protein bag.
Yeah. Go-to.
Famous geometrical shape. Protein bag.
Kids in geometry class, what shape is this? Protein bag.
Yeah,
You were Jim Crow from early on.
Iconic shape.
It is. We know exactly what it is, don't we, when we pick it up.
Wow, that's looking very good now.
Yeah, that's
Looks
how you're
amazing.
feeling.
I don't know. I think I kind of want to leave it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I'm happy with it. I don't know whether I should try and flatten it to make an actual practical coaster or...
You need a spirit level.
Yeah.
If it's a big mug, though, it might
I wouldn't
just sit.
want to flatten that, to be honest. It looks very realistic.
Feels very juicy, like.
Yeah.
And then all these little gaps you can see in.
Yeah, I'm happy
If
with
you
that.
go from different angles, you can really see through.
I feel like it's going to be very satisfying to paint.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to painting it.
Time's flown. How long have we been doing this?
Wow, that really has
An
gone
hour
by.
What time is it? Wow.
It's tomorrow, guys. It's next week.
That is crazy. The time just does slip away, doesn't it?
That's really nice. I don't because as a therapist, I'm watching. I don't get that total immersion, and I am, subtly just checking because I've got another client to follow, so I have to do that. What's been really nice is absolutely to just get involved and chat. That's just been lovely.
You put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, that's
Been on
been
the other
really,
side.
that's just been really joyful actually to do that and just to play.
Yeah, do you know what? I found it like I'm trying to pull myself out of, I feel like I normally go into a bit of a zen state. So I feel like, sorry if I've been a bit quiet, because it's just what I'm used to, but it's been really nice kind of chatting to people, and because you don't think about what you're saying as much, I guess. But I've really loved it. It's been really lovely getting to know you all.
Yeah, we should have made this a regular thing. Just meet up.
All right, there we have it.
We're going.
Guys, thanks for joining us for this clay conversation. And if you want more of the same from Pott'd, then don't forget to click the subscribe button now.